Happy Sunday! This is Patty Bennett. I blog at pattystamps.com and I have an exciting project to show you today. Actually, several projects. I was working on some cards and I was so excited about this really neat way to emboss with your Big Shot Thinlits and framelits. And it is all because of this new Big Shot embossing pad trio product that's in the new Stampin' Up catalog. And so I was using that on a card and I thought, well, I am just gonna go live today and do a quick video for you. I know it's Sunday. If you're watching this live, it's Sunday afternoon in California. And I know it's not my usual time, but I just thought, hey, I've got this project out here and I just thought I would go ahead and show you what I was working on. So I am going to be flipping the camera down and bringing in my Big Shot so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. But just to give you sort of an overview, so at first I'm going to be using the Detailed Floral Thinlits, which normally you're going to die cut and make something like this and possibly put it on a card like that. But what I was doing with it, using these new Big Shot Embossing Mats, I want to get the name right because it's brand new to me, is this. So I'm going to be going over some tips to show you how you emboss like that. But just when you look at it on a card, do you see how pretty this is? This background is just amazing. And here's with a different one. We're going to be doing that one as well with the springtime impressions. And I just love the way these look. So I'm going to be showing you some do's and don'ts, you know, because the don'ts are always as important as the do's sometime, right? And then I am going to be showing you more samples and how to actually run it through the Big Shot and what pieces, what sandwich you need, etc. So welcome to everybody who's joining me live. I see lots of hearts going by. That's a really nice, thank you. We will be jumping right in. I'm going to flip the camera down and show you how to do this, show you where to find it in the Stampin' Up catalog, and then that way you'll be familiar with all these new products and how to use them. I will hang out at the end, so if you have some questions, could you please hold them to the end, and then I will take questions, and then that way we can kind of have a Q&A while I'm working on a few more cards with you. But just if those of you just want to see how to do this, then you'll get all the information you need right at the beginning. So hi to everybody who's joining live. So nice to see you all there. I am going to be flipping the camera down and showing you how all this works, okay? So bear with me just for a second while I flip the camera. Okay, I hope you can see this, right? We're good? Just maybe comment and let me know that you can see, and I think we'll just go ahead with this. So on page 221 in your new catalog is where you're going to find this new embossing mat. So it's right here. And it is actually a set of 3 products. So when you get this, this is what you're going to see. You're going to get this, that it's wrapped in, and then you're going to get sort of this thicker rubber gray mat, a very thin blue mat, and a white plate. Okay, there's nothing printed on it other than the Sizzix logo. So those are the 3 pieces. Now here's a little tip for you. Inside here, you'll find all of these instructions, and I would suggest actually if you could make a Xerox copy of this and keep it somewhere, maybe even inside your catalog or something, because if you lose this, then you might be really confused and you won't know exactly, you know, how to use this. So I would suggest maybe making a copy of this so that you can refer back to that in the future. So it's these 3 pieces. And again, let me just show you what I was working on with this. So the first one I worked with was the Detailed Floral Thinlit dies. And so I was working with this piece. Normally, when you run it through the Big Shot, you're going to get this. You're going to get all of these pieces that come out And this is just an example of something that I did with this. Oops, sorry, someone's texting me, of course. You're going to get something like this where I just laid it over the printed paper and I made a card like that. You may, on occasion, get something that looks like this. This is a don't. So we're going to go over the do's and the don'ts so that you get either a good die cut or you get an embossed piece, but not something halfway in between, because this is sort of a disaster and you don't want to spend your time poking out all those holes. Okay, so we're going to be going over the do's and don'ts of those. And I will just show you again the results of how beautiful it is when you use this die to emboss on your card. I hope you can see that. It is so pretty. And here is another example. Can you see those? I think that's showing up on camera. I hope it is. If someone could just let me know if that's coming through okay. But it is so beautiful when you emboss with this. I think it's just gorgeous. So pretty. And then, like I said, this one is a different die, but we're going to be using that one as well today so that I can show you this new Garden Impressions corner. To me, it's kind of a corner because of this design. So we're going to be doing that as well. So let's jump in and I'll grab my Big Shot and let's go ahead and go through the steps of actually both die cutting and embossing with this, because I want you to see the difference and how this works. And let's just look here on page 217. This is where the Detailed Floral Thinlit is. This is the one I'm going to use first. And then on page 219, this is the Springtime Impression Thinlit. We'll be using that one second. So just so you know, that's where you're going to find these. And if you missed it in the beginning, the Big Shot mats, the embossing mats that you need are here on page 221. So let's grab the Big Shot. And I hope, let me raise this up just a little bit, I think, if I can do that. And maybe that will give you a little bigger view of the Big Shot and as it goes through. So what I have found, of course, is that every Big Shot is different. So if you find that the actual sandwich I'm recommending maybe isn't working perfectly on your Big Shot, try something different, try a different shim, whatever it takes. But for mine, and I think for most, because I've tried this on a few Big Shots, these sandwiches should work for you. So for the die cutting, we're going to just do it regular first. Normally what you would do, you would have your Big Shot platform, and this is the one that comes with the thin die adapter. So you're going to layer those together, and then you're going to put a clear mat on here. Then you would take your die, and I'm just going to use Whisper White for this. And of course you would lay your whichever Thinlit you're using on there. Now, the new thing that Stampin' Up! Is suggesting, well, it was new to me anyway, is that you run it upside down and it really cuts so much better. It's really amazing. But if you put that down and you put your plate on and you run it through, this could fairly easily move. So I have these Post-it notes, and these are the same Post-it tabs that I use on my catalog. If you saw that video where I just put them to make all these neat dividers in my catalog, it's the same Post-it notes as that. So they're like kind of plasticky and you can write on them. But I've been using these because they are super durable and they don't tear your paper. So when I get it lined up where I want it, I just press that on there, and then when I flip it upside down, I am assured that it's not going to move. So for cutting, we're just going to do the regular clear plate. So this is a pretty typical Big Shot sandwich. And I like to run it back and forth a couple of times, maybe even 3. 3 doesn't hurt, but 2 would be recommended. And then when you pull this out, you can see right there that it has all cut right through. Let me set the Big Shot aside and show you that the die brush and mat, this is sold as a set. This is really the perfect tool, and you just run the brush and you're going to see that all of those pieces just fall right out. So look at how beautiful. Well, we just have just a couple there that are just going to need to be poked out with a pokey tool, and that's not a big deal, but they will come right out. And then you have your beautiful piece that's all perfectly die cut. Now, when I said I was going to tell you how to avoid this kind of a mess, what I did accidentally was I used my magnetic platform. I forgot that it was in my Big Shot, and it doesn't have the same pressure as that Big Shot platform. So that's when you get this one that's not all the way die cut. Some are, some aren't. It's very irregular, but you saw when I showed you the back of this one that it was beautifully cut. So that is the difference of having the correct platform or sandwich. And like I said, I used the Big Shot platform on that one. So that's just regular die cutting. So now let's do this really cool embossing. And your sandwich changes just a little bit. So we still have the Big Shot platform, but we don't need the thin die adapter. So what we're going to do is, again, just line up our die on our paper, and I'm going to go ahead and use this again just to hold it down, and I am going to flip it. Excuse me, we need the clear plate. I am going to flip it upside down, and here is where we use one of those new embossing pieces, the embossing mat, and it's the blue thin flimsy piece. So we put that on top, and then we use that white platform that came in the embossing mat kit. And for this, you only have to run it through once, and it runs through super, super easy. So when we pull that flimsy mat off, and you take this off, you can see how cool this is. And it's embossed. So I did write down a couple of tips, and if you want to pause this later, watch the replay and pause it, I will have this on my blog as well at pattystamps.com. But we did, some of the tips are that you want to use the Big Shot platform, you want to have your die upside down, and you would need the thin blue mat and the white plate that come with the embossing mat package. So that is going to give you the embossed look. And again, let's just look at some of those. Oh, I see hearts going by. I think you like that. And it is kind of crazy because you expect it to cut this, but I've done over 75 and there is not any damage to this whatsoever. It does not cut that, because I'm guessing that might be one of your questions. So it's just this beautifully embossed look, and it's so beautiful. On this one of the pieces in this Detailed Floral Framelits is an edge piece. So after you would emboss with this, then this would line up like that. And that's how I cut the edge. So I just did a strip on this one, and I think it's really pretty. I love the way that looks. And then on this one, I did it in the background here. And I had to, with this piece, I had to do it twice. And I kind of overlapped a little too much, and so I kind of just covered it up with that butterfly. And that seemed to work. Then one other thing you can do, this is with the stained glass. So this is a half circle, and I just embossed it twice on the background of there. I hope this is showing up okay on the camera. It's just so pretty in person. I know it's kind of light. That's the seafoam green, and it's very light. But that gives you an idea, I think, doesn't it, for how this works. And oh, just so you see those tips on this one, when you're die cutting, my tips for that are using the Big Shot platform plus the thin die adapter. Run your die upside down, use your clear plate on top, and then use your die brush. So those are the steps you just saw me do, but those are tips to help you get just a really perfectly cut piece without all those little parts that seem to hang on, because, you know, those are annoying, right? Those are very annoying. I just, ugh, right? You don't want those. And so keep a little pack of these nice little Post-its handy by your Big Shot so that you can hold on to your die and run that through. So now let's talk about the springtime impressions, and I'll show you some samples with that. So normally when you use this die and you just cut it with cardstock, let's go through some of these samples. So this is a look that you would get if you just cut it with a plain cardstock. I cut this piece out of Berry Burst and layered it onto one of the delightfully detailed pre-printed cards. I did this one actually in a video a while ago, so you may have already seen this. So if you're thinking like, wait, I saw that. Yes, I did show you this and I did blog that. And then this one, I die cut this piece out of a patterned paper from Garden Impressions, I think it's called. Let me just look behind me. Hang on. Yes, Garden Impressions. So it's really pretty when you kind of line it up and you get it die cut with printed paper. So that's a fun option. This is a beautiful card that I just received last week for my birthday, and she die cut it in white and then she colored the different flowers and leaves. And I think it's sponged. It might be watercolored. I can't tell, and I forgot to ask her, but it's just beautiful. Or maybe she told me and I forgot. So sorry. Now, if you want to do the embossed look, let's look at a few that you could do. So this is this piece on that pre-printed note card, and it does hang off a little bit on the two ends, but that's okay. And it's just embossed into the card. So when you open it, yes, you do see that on the inside, but I think it's really pretty. It doesn't bother me at all that it shows on the inside. I love it. So I hope that shows up. I think that's really gorgeous. And then this is a card I'm working on for customer thank you cards this week. Same idea, where we take this die and just emboss it right onto the cardstock. So let me show you how this card evolved, because at first I was just going to do it on the mint macaron cardstock, again, because like I said, I love how you see the other side. And then I realized I wasn't going to have enough mint macaron cardstock to make a whole folded card for all the cards I needed, because I needed to make 70 thank you cards. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to need to do something different. So I just cut them down into the 4 by 5 1/4 inch panels, and I put it on top of a thick Whisper White folded card. But I also added this Grapefruit Grove scalloped oval behind the white, and I think that really made that pop. But I loved the addition of the white here, the border. So I think actually it turned out to be a happy mistake. And I just thought, wow, it's so fun just to see how a card can progress, how the design of a card can progress. Isn't that fun? So let's go ahead and make one of these, and I'll just show you again those steps for embossing. Oh, did I show you this one? I think I might have forgotten that one. So this one also has the same die just impressed into the background, and you can see it on the inside. I think it's really pretty when you see that inside. And this is the new Grapefruit Grove. So let's go ahead and emboss with this one. So you can just see that one more time, because it is really magical, isn't it? I think it's super, super cool. So just one more time as a review. Big Shot platform, clear plate, and then you'll take your die, and let's go ahead and do the mint macaron. Uh-oh, it's here. I know it's here. Oh dear. If you could see, I have a mess on my desk. Here it is. So this is the 4x5 1/4, and this actually fits perfectly on a 4x5 1/4. So just if you're wondering, you don't have to worry about it hanging over or anything. And then die side up, cutting side up, blue mat from the embossing mat package, white plate from the embossing mat package, roll it through, and this goes through super easy. It almost feels like it's not doing anything. So if you think, you know, uh-oh, I don't know if that's working, it's probably working. And then of course all you have to do is check it. There's the back, and then we can just pull this off, and there we have the beautifully embossed mint macaron piece. Isn't it so pretty? I think this is so amazing. I just really don't understand how it works, but it works, right? So we are happy. So let's just go ahead and assemble the card. So I have my thick Whisper white folded and scored, and I think I'm gonna just put the adhesive on here. And yes, I'm still using up my fast fuse, just because I still have some and I like it. So I'm just using mine up. So we have that, and then the circle, the scalloped oval from the layering ovals, and that is in the Grapefruit Grove. And then I went ahead and stamped this. I'll show you this stamp set. This is on page 129, and it's called Abstract Impressions. So I used the flower from this set, as well as the greeting and the little flower and that leaf. So that is on the same page. You can get this in a bundle, so 10% off when you purchase stamp sets and dies, or stamp sets and punches as a bundle, if they're offered as a bundle. So just layer that together. And this is a stitched shape oval. I have lots of those pre-cut because I use them all the time. I'm going to put that on. And you know, I thought about putting ribbon on this, but it just seemed like it would have almost been lost on here, so I decided not to. So I'm going to put the leaf right about there. So what I did was I just put a little bit of adhesive to hold it down, and then my flower that I stamped, and I just fussy cut that flower. And that's it. That was all there was to that beautiful card, and I just think that it turned out so pretty. The leaves, by the way, I wasn't sure if I would like this, but I really do. This is the soft seafoam cardstock, stamped with mint macaron and then punched out, and I liked the contrast there. It just gave the card just a little, you know, one more color that I thought was so pretty. So this is my color palette, the soft seafoam, mint macaron, and Grapefruit Grove. So that was my color palette for this. Oh, I see lots of hearts going by. Thank you for that. So I hope that helps explain how to use your Big Shot embossing mats with your framelit or thinlit and get an embossed image rather than a die cut image. Thank you for joining me. I am going to let you go if you don't have any questions, but please hang out with me if you do have questions. And also, if you need any of these supplies, you can go to mystamporder.com or you can go to my blog at pattystamps.com and click on the Shop Online buttons. So if you have any questions for me, let me know. I'm going to hang out for just a moment and just see if you had any other questions. I'll put some of those samples back out here so that you can see. Rita says, thanks, her wish list is longer. Hey, Becky, you made it. Good to see you on here. How fun. Becky is in California all the way from her home, so that's fun to see you on here. So those were a few of the samples that I shared. Hope you enjoyed those. Oh, good, Linda, thank you. She says that she enjoyed the Sunday video. I'm so glad. Oh, the gray mat. So let's see, who just asked that? Mary said, what do you use the gray mat for? Okay, so in the instructions, and I haven't done this yet, but it shows for the gray mat is, for instance, if you wanted to just emboss this label instead of die cutting it, and you want to die cut it out, there's a whole different sandwich and a different way to use it. So you do, if you want to cut and emboss, you do it differently. So that's when you use the gray one. And I haven't done that yet. All I've done are these larger dies on the actual big card front. So thank you for asking that. Yeah. Yeah, Cheryl, thank you. I just did. I just said that about the gray mat. So yeah, Barb, I think the comments are delayed a minute. So yes, that's what you use the gray mat for, is for the die cutting and embossing. Great. Thank you, everybody. So glad you enjoyed that. Oh, Cindy, good. I'm glad you enjoyed that at your open house as well. Thanks, Becky. Thank you, Mary. So I think this is fabulous. And I love that when you already have a product, you can stretch your dollars and make it do something totally different. So this is like two completely different things that you're doing with your dies, your cutting and your embossing. I love that. I just think it's so fabulous. So, okay, so you're welcome, everybody. I am going to let you go, but thanks for hanging out with me a bit. And I will tell you that if UPS comes in time, I'm going to be doing an unboxing video this coming Tuesday. So that would be the 5th. But I'm kind of worried that UPS may not come in time. So it might be Wednesday. I'm just going to have to update you when I see the UPS delivery notice. But hopefully that will be coming up. So, oh, hi, Judy. How are you? Hi, Deborah. So good to see everybody on here. Glad you enjoyed it. And I will have these on my blog in a few days. So check on pattystamps.com when you have a chance. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.